All right, so where are we now? What is this place called?
So we are in the McDonald Dunn Research Forest that is part of the Oregon State University extended campus. I think it's owned by Oregon State University.
Right,
so
like
it's
gifted to them, probably.
just a huge amount of acreage here in the Willamette Valley, kind of maybe part of the coastal range a little bit, and just a beautiful setting. Haven't been here for about 23 or 24 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
I love coming to Corvallis with you because it's like, you have all this history here. It's like your old college town. I love that.
Yeah, it's always fun. Yeah.
So here we are. We're in Corvallis. Obviously, we got our Oregon State.
Yep, and
stuff
I'll have on more later.
Yeah,
I didn't want
the hat.
I didn't want to wash out the camera with a bright orange shirt the whole time.
But I wanted to, like we talked about, for the podcast, like I often focus on, like we talked about, divorce and family and business, and
Yep.
you are, in fact, you're kind of like the role model for me of that whole process, because you are dad. You've been through divorce. You're a dad. You're remarried. You and Crystal have an awesome business together. You have an awesome life together. You're a stepfather. Like you're all the like we were saying. You're kind of on a parallel path to me in a lot of ways.
Well, I would say the feeling is mutual because I don't, I think having other men in our lives that have a lot of similarities of challenges they've, walked through and come out the other side of, and I don't aspire to be anybody's role model, but I definitely love being a part of support for you, just like you have been for me. I've learned a lot from you. I've seen it's really amazing to have another example of somebody who does go through the same type of challenges and succeeds.
Well, trying to anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I feel on the parenting side, the family side, we've both been incredibly fortunate to build new families and strengthen the family that we had with or the relationship that we have with our kids.
Yep. I agree.
While also that tricky mix of blending kids together, blending families together.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
Which, I'm sure you went through. I mean, on the front edge of that for Ashley, like, you have to have a very gentle touch. You have to kind of let the kids drive the ship a little bit. You have to be like, when at whatever level of connection they're ready for, at their time frame, like, it can't be rushed.
Yep, I relate to that 100%. You want me to speak more to that?
Please.
Yeah, and I think probably I'd be curious to hear your experience with that, but Crystal has two kids, a son and a daughter that are, my stepkids, and they're truly wonderful kids. The Joaquin is 17 and Zoe is 15, almost 15 now, and so they've known me as part of their lives for nearly 7 years now. And I think it might just be a male and a boy, like a man and a boy, stepfather, stepson. That was a pretty easy relationship to just took off right from the start. But I had a similar experience to what you were just describing with my stepdaughter, of she has a father, of not wanting to replace that at all, and wanting to basically just let that relationship develop, in an organic way, in like a way that is at the right pace for her, and that's really what has happened. It's been awesome. I have my own daughter Sadie, who's 13 now, and so it's not a new experience to be a father of a daughter, but I would say that Zoe and I have a really special relationship at this time, and I think part of the reason it is right there is because we didn't rush it or force it, and it just happened. And like I love her personality, like I love the talents she has,
She's a cool kid.
and I love joking around with her, and I love her sense of humor and her wit. So I feel, both with Joaquin and Zoe, feel like I'm at a good place, but I allowed all that extra time for it to develop with Zoe.
I mean, like you said, you've been in it 7 years. Like,
Yep.
you've been, it takes that kind of time. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like, okay, you've had a week, you've had a month, like, come on, let's be friends.
Yep. Did you have a similar experience with Tristan and Ariana as far as the boy and girl?
I remember Tristan specifically. Like, there was not incident, but there was a interaction kind of early days when Ashley and I had started. I mean, literally just started to blend families and stuff. And he was being a kind of typical. I mean, this was probably 6 years ago now.
Yep.
So let's see. I mean, he would have been like 8, 9, something like that.
Yep.
Anyway, whatever his age, like preteen, and kids that age, like Ashley had been basically single parenting for a while and stuff, and he was kind of used to pushing back on things, like arguing about bedtime or whatever.
Sure.
It's like, and it was just one of those stupid little typical family things where it's like,
Yep.
he had been given 15 extra minutes of TV and it was time to go to bed, and he's kind of complaining about it. I was like, dude, like, the question was asked, can you stay up later? The question was answered, no, you can't. Like, go to bed.
Yeah.
And Ashley had to kind of pull me aside and be like, it's not time for that yet.
Yeah.
Like, you're not there with him yet. Like, he needs to feel
Yep.
accepted and loved and cared for. And I was like, oh, like, you're 100% right. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you can't go from 0 to 60. It's like, you gotta give them. And I wasn't thinking about it from his perspective of, he's just sort of been thrown into what is essentially a new family, like
Yep.
a new household. I'm new to him. Marley's new to him. Finley's new to him. The house is new to him. Like, everything was new, on top of the fact that he's still dealing with his parents' divorce.
Yep.
He's still dealing with, he didn't know any of the details or anything, but he was still dealing with his dad having done something, like, he didn't know what had happened. Like,
Yeah.
he was still raw, emotionally raw, from dealing with all the stuff in his life. His whole world had been blown up not long before.
Yep.
And that divorce, that took a couple of years. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this kid has been through the ringer, worse even than my kids. In a
Yeah,
lot of ways.
for sure.
So I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna move the needle. We're not gonna make like a huge adjustment, a huge change to this kid's life like that. Like,
Yeah.
I have to chill out and sit back and like play the long game.
I would say that was, similar to my experience with Crystal, because she's a great parent and she's very super capable as a parent. So, there have been very few times. It's even now. It's just occasional times where I have to kind of be a gentle, like, second parenting voice of like, hey, this is not going well, and like, you need to hear this from another adult, another parent figure of like, what your mom's saying is correct, and you.
Right, like when you're talking to the kids.
Yeah, you're gonna listen to her,
Yeah.
and obviously that is more common with Joaquin because he's a adolescent boy
Yeah.
than with Zoe. But so what has been your experience with Ariana as far as kind of the last six or so years?
I mean, Ariana and I talk about like once I realized that, okay, like, I have to play the long game.
Yep.
And it has to be on their timetable.
Yep.
Then I was just like, okay, like, I am here to be whatever, really,
Yeah.
with Ariana and Tristan both. Like, I am here to be, like, whatever you need me to be or whatever you don't want me to be. Like, I am just gonna kind of read off of them and just try to be,
Yep.
again, let them know that they're supported. Let them know that they're cared for. Let them know that I'm listening to them and hearing them.
Yeah.
And with Ariana, I mean, Ariana and Ashley have an incredibly tight bond.
Yep.
So I'm literally just there as like the kind of adjunct male parental
Totally.
figure.
Yeah. And I would say the same thing about Zoe and Crystal's bond, and me being there,
Yeah.
like, just as an extra support. I agree. Yeah.
Tristan, though, like both Tristan and Ariana have just turned into just incredibly cool kids. Like Tristan, that kid is whip smart and he is thriving now. You know, he's into a bunch of different activities in the theater. He's an incredible math mind.
Yep.
Which, as you know, I mean, he has really just found his way and is continuing to find his way really well.
That's awesome.
High school. So I'm just there, you know, now I'm just kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I'm not like hands-on actively saying, don't do that, or, you know, make sure you do your homework.
Yeah.
Like, it's more just to be a family member, like to be there for him in a parental way, but without like actively hands-on parenting.
Yep, I relate to that completely. Now, is Ariana turning 13 like this week?
Well, her birthday party is today.
Yeah, when's her actual birthday?
Her birthday is, I think, next week.
Okay, so soon. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, having known your family for the last 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 years now.
9 years.
8 or 9. So it's been, you know, I have enjoyed watching both of your stepkids develop. I mean, obviously Marley and Finley too, but like all 4 of the kids. But, you know, I feel like just from a outside perspective, it's very apparent too, to just see the growth that has happened there. And, you know, what you describe as far, like even when we were walking in here today, you know, you got a call from Ariana, and I wasn't listening intently, but it was a really neat interaction. It was a supportive interaction. Yep. Hey, Charlie, I need you for this, and like,
hey, Dad, you know, not Dad, but hey, Charlie, where's the air pump?
And there was a lot of there was a lot of gratitude there. Like she was saying thank you, and like she was truly appreciative for the help you were providing for her. So, you know, it's cool to see that.
The flip side of that, watching Zoe and Joaquin, I know it gets like a little hard on the butt after a while.
Yeah.
Watching Zoe and Joaquin, especially getting to spend time with them at the beach last year.
Yeah.
I could see it was this cool. There's like a whole bunch of crystal, obviously, in those kids.
Yep.
But then I could see little dashes of Keith in there too. You know, it's like, oh, like it's cool to see how they have drawn from each of you.
Yeah.
The things they need, or the parts of their personality.
I think if I had to point out one aspect of that I think is, you know, at least mildly apparent, is that I tend to have a personality where I, you know, maybe will try things before I think about it, or take a risk. You know, I'm less risk averse than maybe the average human being.
I mean, you're entrepreneurial.
You know, at least probably an average amount of risk averse, like less risk averse as the average man. So I think that's one thing that Zoe and Joaquin, you know, my kids are used to it for their whole lives.
Yeah. Both
boys and Sadie, but, you know, when you add, you know, child 4 and child 5, Zoe and Joaquin into the mix, like that's new to them to kind of, I think, have a parent that, because Crystal is, you know, and if she was sitting here talking with us, she would say the same thing. She is more analytical. Probably, you know, there's a smartness and a wisdom to that, to consider all the possibilities and like, well, what could happen. Whereas, you know, I lightly think about those usually, and then when I realize there's no imminent danger to something, then I generally am like, okay, this is probably not a idiotic decision. And I think that, I mean, that can apply to a lot of areas of life. It can, you know, it can run the whole gamut of life, but I think Joaquin and Zoe have both seen that play out, and they're slowly starting to, I think, learn from that and be like, hey, you know, there's a lot of things that are worth trying, worth experiencing. You know, I mean, gosh, like Joaquin's a great example of it. When we first were spending time, the 7 of us together, I would be like, hey, Cameron and Jackson, let's go do this thing, and they'd be like, yeah, you know, and they just jump right in, and then Joaquin was always kind of hesitant, like I don't know. Okay. But now, you know, I just feel like he's right in that mix of like, it's not that we're being daredevils, it's just that he's right in the mix of like
cliff jumping.
I'm going to do this, I'm going to experience this with you, or, you know, let's go out in this cold water of this lake, and you know, that type of, you know, not, maybe it's not the most comfortable situation, but it's adventurous. So,
and that's the other side of it too, is getting to watch my kids, Marley and Finley, find their way with Ashley.
Yeah.
Like Finley more than, I mean, Marley and Ashley have developed their own relationship, but Finley, I think, at the beginning was very, she was like, "You're not my mom."
Yeah.
And you're kind of taking the place of my mom, and also, she didn't know all the details behind all the divorce stuff, so
Yep.
I'm sure there was kind of that uncertainty of like,
Did that turn off? I heard a ding, or it's still recording, right?
I think so.
Okay. I heard some.
It's flashing, so I think we're okay.
Okay.
Let me
Yeah.
get it.
I just wanted to make sure.
Well, let's see. So long as, it looks, I think we're good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
But so Finley took her time, is how I would put it. Took her time kind of letting Ashley in. But now she and Ashley, like, they can, they're snarky with each other, and they can joke around with each other, and I, of course, that's kind of my MO is, I'm like, a lot of things in life should be taken seriously, but there's a lot that you can laugh about too.
Joke around about, exactly.
And joke around about. And now Finley and Ashley kind of have more of that relationship, which is cool. Like they found their way to be connected to each other.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. And
that's not an easy path to walk for the kids or for the adults.
Yeah.
That's hard all the way around.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I would say the same thing about Zoe is that I don't think she's ever sensed that I'm trying to be your dad. And I've never gotten the sense from her of like, you're not my dad, but just, you can't go from like new adult figure, like husband or boyfriend of your mom to like really close super fast. It just takes time.
Especially, I think, like you said, like it was faster with Joaquin.
Yep. Oh yeah, for sure.
Like for a preteen girl to how do you?
Yep.
It takes time to build that connection with you as a new sort of adult figure in her life.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you appreciate that more a little bit. Sometimes things that take more time, you reflect on them and appreciate them a little bit more than something that just comes easily, like Joaquin and I, and just becoming close with him. What was I going to ask? I don't know. I think I was done with those thoughts. Yeah.
I mean, I do feel, and your situation is a little bit different in that your kids aren't with you full time, which is a travesty, by the way. But that's do you ever feel that dynamic? There are just times now it's not like this anymore, but there were times for a couple of years where I was just like, those like plate spinner type.
Yeah.
It was like like I always felt like there was one plate that was about to fall off.
Yep.
And just shatter on the ground. I'm like, okay, which child is in trauma today?
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of a good segue into just like life as an entrepreneur or, as a small business owner is like, especially when you have a marriage, you have, multiple children. That's kind of how I think life feels a lot of times. It's just like which feature of life or which aspect of life is being neglected right now. Like, am I neglecting my health and wellness? Am I neglecting my relationship with my spouse, with my wife? Am I paying enough attention to the kids? Am I paying attention to the business? It's kind of that whole, you want balance in life, but then there's always, I like the plate analogy because there's always one that's a little shaky and like, like if I don't pay attention to this one, it might fall and shatter, So yeah, the what I was going to say too is that there's always silver linings to stuff, and I think I would probably speak for you based on knowing you well enough, but I think you and I share a sentiment of that neither of us, when we went into our marriage, in our 20s, would have thought like, hey, I don't expect this marriage to last the rest of life.
Right.
It was I think in our hearts our plan was this is going to work out. And so and another similarity is that you and I both experienced like a divorce situation that caught us off guard and was something that was, you know, like painful in a lot of ways and like unexpected.
Hardest thing I've ever, literally harder than the loss of my parents, like the hardest thing ever.
Yeah, and I would say the same thing. I haven't lost my parents at all,
Right.
so you know that was the most challenging time of life for me. I mean, more challenging than my own parents' divorce because you're living through the.
Well, and you know, you go from this thought of like, cool, we are in this together.
Yep.
From from now to our last day, kind of thing. Like whatever comes, we're gonna figure it out.
Yep.
But yeah, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah,
and we do share that same thing. It's like
Yep.
how it went down for each of us was oddly similar. Hey there.
So but you know, it's one of those things of like coming to that reality of, okay, like this, you know, this happened. It really felt like we were in a very sweet spot of life, but you know, this went so sideways, so unexpectedly, and how do I deal with this? But I think one of the silver linings for the kids of ours that have had to go through this, you know, what you would not want and you would not hope for in a family dynamic of divorce is like, I do feel like it creates a little bit more self-reliance and independence in children. And again, like there's other ways to engender that in kids, you know, rather than going through a family of divorce. But I think it is a natural outcropping of kids who come from families of divorce. If they're supported well enough,
Right.
then, you know, they just naturally become kind of more independent, more self-reliant. They realize like, hey, I can overcome these emotional challenges. I can overcome these practical challenges in life. So I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I feel like all 5 of our kids have had to do that in some degree, and that's been a silver lining of things.
Yeah, I would say that it has worked out that way generally. I mean, you know, like Ashley's kids, they have been through a bit more emotional.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say more emotional trauma.
It's a different type, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have had to confront something about one of their parents about their dad.
Yep.
That no kid should have to confront.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that really messed, especially Ariana, really took an emotional toll, a big emotional toll on her, and still continues to.
Yeah.
Really.
Obviously. Yep.
That's years down the road, and it still affects her dramatically.
Yep.
And I would say really for like Marley and Finley, like Finley, I know I can hear this.
It's
like,
awesome. Be ready to. It's like that.
What?
Do you see the one that's leaning?
Yes.
On
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Be ready.
Just
Be ready to bail.
Dramatic footage.
Lay underneath this. Yeah. If it was more windy, I'd be more worried.
Okay, please don't kill us.
It's pretty funny. I don't think it's an animal or critter.
No. I think it's like trees rubbing together.
Yeah. I feel like it's these two, but
Yep.
it could be something else.
So,
That's pretty funny.
If no one ever hears from us again,
Yeah. Yep.
is our last.
Somebody's gonna like see the camera bags down below the trail and be like,
Be like, oh, something.
there's
down
dead
there.
people here.
But I mean, I think Finley has found this like real strength where she's just like, this is me. I am who I am.
Yep.
Deal with it.
Yep.
I feel like Marley is still really, she hasn't found her way to be on top of it.
Yeah.
Like it really, she is still dealing with a lot of emotional repercussions of all this stuff to this day.
I feel like a lot of that too, I mean, I could be very wrong here, but I feel like a lot of that is the stage of life she's in, where she's really having to confront this, hey, within 2 months, like I'm an adult and I'm going to be in college and making decisions for myself that I've really never had to make, and like taking care of herself, and so like all that.
And still the negative influence of my ex-wife's husband.
Yep.
Who is that is a non-stop problem.
Yeah.
As long as he is in their lives, that's a problem.
That's one of probably the major differences between your experience. There's so many similarities, but one of the major differences is my ex-wife hasn't remarried, and
Yes.
to my knowledge, there's not a lot of any serious relationships. I'm not aware of any suitors that the kids have even met,
Right.
you know, of any dating.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad thing. But you know, it's like that's a degree of the whole situation that I don't have to deal with at all.
Right.
You know, it's some other man, and either a positive. I mean, there could be a positive influence from it potentially, but you know, you're in a situation where it's a very negative influence. You know, in a negative aspect.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I would love, you know. I mean, I want my ex-wife to live a full, happy, rich life, find a great partner.
I feel the same way.
Someone awesome and amazing, and I mean, I've got, you know, if that person is truly awesome and a great influence, having that additional presence in my kids' lives, like, that'd be great.
Yeah, it would.
That is not the case right now.
100% better than what it is right now.
100% better than what it is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's like, you know, the man she's married to is just a detriment to everybody's lives.
Yeah, yeah,
like
including
it affects
including
how
her.
we interact. You know?
Yeah.
Like, so.
Yeah.
But you, like, your situation. I mean, the one thing I want to, because, you know, we kind of do these videos. The idea is that for people that are struggling, men, women going through divorce or something similar, or maybe it's not something similar, but that mostly this is kind of aimed at parents and people going through divorce and how they deal with their kids and how they deal with their business. And
Yep.
but like your situation is different from mine in that I think in the most tragic travesty of justice, like your kids ended up basically full time with your ex.
Yeah.
I mean, they're with you a couple of months.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 85% or so of the time.
Right,
you know, if you factor in the longer summers, maybe it's like 80%, but it's not a.
Sitting on this lawn was not a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay, it's fine.
It's.
I just won't be able to walk.
I know.
Done with this.
Good thing we have another mile walk out of here.
Just drag ourselves down the trail.
It'll loosen up a sleek cheeks.
But you know, for people watching, I mean, like I got 50-50 custody with my kids and my ex-wife, and you were going through your divorce in the middle of the pandemic. I mean, maybe kind of give an overview of how that shook
I
out.
feel like I can do a quick summary of that. So, you know, the points I would make are that I felt like I had an extremely strong case to have custody of the kids, especially when my ex-wife moved to a different state 1,000 miles away. And, you know, for that reason, I was given advice to hire a custody evaluator, which I did. And that was a very, like, cumbersome, intricate process to do all the work related to that. And the result of that process, and that was tons of interviews, that gentleman even flew down to Arizona and you know, and did all the same stuff with my ex-wife that he did with me. And it was a big process. And the result of that process was the custody evaluation coming back and saying, you know, in my expert opinion as a custody evaluator, father should have sole custody of the children since there's, you know, two separate states and just all the factors involved. And so, like, when we went to,
this was all in the middle of the pandemic too, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
And that was the other thing that just, like, such a giant, like, wrench in the works.
Yeah,
right?
and there's no reason to get into, like, all the minutia of all the details, but basically, long story short, at the, you know, the custody trial, which was just like purposely delayed and you know, over and over again, when it finally happened, you know, I would call that judge a rogue judge, and the judge just completely, you know, said, hey, you know, you're not you've done 700 of these custody evaluations in your 40-year career, but you're not an expert witness, and you basically just said, you know, I'm not gonna consider your finding that father should have sole custody of the children as a legitimate, you know, evaluation. And that was a crazy thing.
Did he really say, like, I don't consider you
I mean, it was like it was implied in
Okay.
yeah, it was implied in her
this
findings.
guy,
Yeah.
So the two of you, I'm sure, hire the evaluator, right?
Well, I mean, no, it's
Or is
one
that you?
parent
Okay.
does. It's just the other. I think that if the other parent maybe says no, I refuse to do this, that probably is an indication that, oh, one parent is more fit for
Right.
custody than
Right.
the other. So I think, if my ex-wife had hired that person, I certainly would have gone through the process,
Right.
to in order to have custody of the kids, or 50-50 or whatever we were seeking. So
Right.
so that, the end of that, again, really, really briefly, is just that when that trial finally happened and that the findings, became like we're standing, and then I had lost custody of the kids because we lived in different states. Like, it was extremely painful and hard to wrap my mind around, of like, man, how can you have a custody evaluator with all these years of experience say this, and then the judge, completely
Just
reverses it.
disregards it.
Yeah, disregards it. So,
Or it goes the opposite direction.
but the kind of the end of that, though, is you have a choice to make when something bad happens to you in life like that, and that was like a bad thing. But when a travesty happens,
Yeah.
and you can choose to like be bitter about it and dwell on it and just like let it drag you down, or you can say, okay, like, there's a lot of choices you can do to make the best of the situation, and there's always silver linings. So what I would say, what has turned out from this is, one huge blessing is the business we have allows me to travel pretty much whenever I want to.
Right.
So as far as like physical connection, being with the kids in person, I get lots of chances to do that all throughout every year, in Arizona, in Oregon, like sometimes in other states, on vacations. So,
Right.
and then the second piece of it is that Crystal and I are very well aware of how busy life is, doing the franchising we're doing, and it legitimately would be even more challenging to do what we're doing with franchising if we had all 5 kids
Right.
full time, especially with my kids being kind of more in sports and different activities that are
Right.
time consuming. So, it's like this day, and for the last probably many months, even years, my perspective on that has been, this idea of like, if things were to turn out this way, God knew what was going on with things, and like, it's just a matter of it. Like, if that was God's will for things to happen as they did, then I've got to have the trust basically trust that process of like, and really I'm kind of seeing the fruit of that. Again, it's not just recently, it's just over these years of like, praise God, I've been able to maintain a great relationship with all 3 kids. I feel close and connected to them, and I feel like they feel like they have a father that loves them and cares about them, is even though I'm not close to them on like, a weekly or daily basis,
Right.
like we are close. And then it's like it has turned out in some manners that being in Arizona has been a great experience, educationally, for athletics, for Cameron, for just there's been some upsides of having that school system and the type of rigor that's in that education be part of their lives. So, all in all, I was hoping for this 4 years ago, or whenever this all shook out and became the reality that it is. I was hoping 4 years ago, hey, like, I hope to look back in the years in the future and say, hey, this has turned out okay. And like, it's never going to be good or ideal or great to not live close to your kids most of the
Right.
time. But as far as like, if you took 1,000 men and put them in the same situation that, I have been in, I think that, 950 of them would have had a very worse experience than I have, So
Right.
I'm really grateful for that. And, just the fact that my 3 kids are doing so well, obviously Crystal's are too, but the fact that they're doing so well is, I'm just super grateful for that, because, it could, so many things could be way different and worse in so many ways. Yeah, so that's kind of hopefully.
I mean, but that's, Keith, that's one of those things, like, I mean, just sitting here thinking about it, I get choked up.
Yeah. Yep.
Like,
Well,
I mean, you and I know, like, you come at this from a strong Christian perspective.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like a little squishier. Like,
Sure.
you know,
Yeah.
it's spiritual but not
Yep.
Christian, but I don't really know what it is.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
I know that provides you with kind of a grounding. You're like, this is how this is supposed.
Yeah.
You trust that God is doing the right thing.
Yep. Exactly.
And that I can see where that would help immensely. But even so, like you handled that with let's put it this way, like that had to and has to still at times like rip your guts out.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Just eviscerate you, and to watch you like handle that with every bit of grace and dignity, and to not let that emotional gut punch like just derail you.
Yeah.
That just really impressed me, and it still to this day impresses me. So I'm really
Yeah.
really like in awe of how you have handled that over these years. Like that's
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'll catch up to myself here in a bit.
Do you find I've got to sort of give you a second to get your breath, but
yeah,
do you find or at least let me just put it this way, I find actually I am, and it's tied into my ex's husband and his behavior towards my kids and stuff, of course, like that's a factor.
Sure.
But I almost find myself more angry now about things like, I mean, my ex and I, we have 50-50 custody, week on, week off. Like,
yep.
But I am just, I sit there and I'm like, okay, so let's say that's over 7 years. I'm like, that's 3.5 years of cumulative time I didn't get with my kids.
Yep.
And that infuriates.
Sure. Yes.
Like, you have
exactly.
stolen time.
Yep.
From me.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get back to that. But when you boil it down, that's the hardest part of a family going through divorce, is that it automatically changes that dynamic of time and connection radically, even if it's 50-50, and it can be less than 50-50 obviously, but even 50-50, I agree, is like, that is not ideal. Like, there's half of your life I'm not daily part of it, so. And
at least, I mean, week on, week off, it's still regular enough.
Yeah.
You're kind of in there in your kids' lives regularly enough.
Yep.
To at least, feel like you're not quite part of the day to day, but you're part of the week to week.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
I mean, the fact that, and when I see you with your kids, like, I love the interaction you have with your kids. Like, it does not seem like there is any connection lost.
Yeah, and I would say
might be what you're looking for.
That's hilarious.
Okay,
I would
thank you, Siri. All right.
I would say the same thing. I'm gonna shift again.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we walk for the last half of
Oh
this
yeah,
conversation.
let's do it. I love that idea. Like, how do you just hold the camera? I can handle another 10 or 20 minutes of this easily, honestly. So
let's stay here and we'll just see if our butts last.
So the this is like maybe like even a controversial thing to say, but one thing that's interesting, and I would agree, there's no I mean, you can't say there's no connection lost, because it's just never going to be the same dynamic when you're able to parent your kids 100% of the time, or down to 50, or or less. Yeah. But one thing that I have noticed that's interesting to me is that if I'm a 20% parent, let's say that's probably about what it is about a 20% parent.
In terms of time.
Yes, for like,
I would say you are 100% parent for your
sure,
kids.
yeah, but like face to face,
in
being
terms of time together.
Yeah, being physically present together. What's interesting about that dynamic is that there's a lot of the day-to-day challenges and frustrations that you actually don't have to directly deal with. Like, like my ex-wife, she's mostly dealing with that, school drama or
Right.
this sports teammate drama or whatever you want to call it. Like, not that there's necessarily a lot of drama, but like, when I watch my wife, who's a full-time parent, basically a full-time parent to our stepkid, my stepkids and her kids,
Yeah.
like, it's, you can see that angst of like, like all the little details you have to walk through being a parent. If you're doing a good job being a parent, which Crystal does, then it's like there's an emotional toll to that. And then as a parent, sometimes you lose your temper, you lose your cool, and like there's confrontation and arguing, and like that's just a natural part of being a parent, especially if you're a parent 100% of the time. So like it may be a silly thing to bring up, but there's so much less of that dynamic when you're physically with your kids 20% of the time, because it's like, hey, like, I want every moment of this. There's no ordinary moments really when you get to see your kids 20% of the time.
Right.
It's like, I want every bit of this to be positive and like productive, and make as many memories as we can during this limited time. So it's kind of like there's a scarcity thing that makes you really focus in on, and then like we are able to have some deep conversations too, of like, hey, we can't just have this deep conversation any old day. Like, I'm with you for this block of 4 or 5 days, and like let's take a walk and let's have this like deep conversation. And like that's where I can do some parenting, and hey, here's at least my wisdom as a father, and take it or leave it, but this is my perspective on this, and consider or some other perspectives, and weigh these out, and like you're growing into adulthood, all of you kids are, and so that type of thing. So thanks for the kind words. I was going to circle back to what you were saying, that has made my ability to have grace and mostly just drop bitterness like much easier, because there's 2 factors that you deal with that and we touched on this earlier, but I don't have to deal with. One of them is the type of person that your wife's ex-husband is. The second one is the type of person your ex-wife husband is. Like, it's like there's 2 male figures that are part of your 4 kids' lives that are far less than ideal. And, even though my stepkid's dad is far less than ideal, it's not in the same negative way as as your situation. So it's kind of like, in a way, there's, if you call those 2 whole factors, I have a half of a factor involved in that. So it's like 25% of that type of thing that you're dealing with, and I really think that's a huge 75% less of that is a huge difference, as far as again, I'm just being like mathematical about it, but
as you are inclined to do.
What's really funny too is sometimes, like, once in a while, I'll catch myself, something will trigger a memory, and I'll be like, it's from 4 or 5 years ago, when there was just so many messed up things happening, and I'm like, man, that was so messed up, and I'm like, I don't ever think about that, and I'm kind of like, thank God I don't ever think about that. Like, that's really, I'm glad, and it's, I kind of try to, it's maybe that male thing of compartmentalizing and just like, we'll put that back in its bucket instead of like getting worked up about it, but in general, like, I think the reason that I'm day to day able to feel that kind of like just joy and peace in life despite really unideal circumstances with the parenting is that is just that there's a lot of other things in life that are great, and the relationship, like, I would feel differently if I had like lost the relationship that I have with my kids, or if it had radically changed, like then I would really struggle deeply. But like, again, praise God that that hasn't happened, and we're really through, like, I see us, like, with me and my 3 kids being through the thick of this, to the point, one's graduating high school, going to college, the second one's a couple years away, and the third Sadie is almost in high school. So it's like we're really to the point where it's, hey, like, these are young adults, and help them make these transitions. And
well, and the other thing I respect a lot is that, like you said, you're a small business owner. You have, it takes doing, but you have the flexibility, at least, to be able to go see your kids on the regular, and you've set it up so like your RV is down there in Arizona, so you can travel around with them and you're not just like sitting in a hotel room.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. That's not ideal,
but
for sure.
the fact that the work, the effort you have put into making that situation be a positive one, again, I respect it. I just have a lot of admiration for how you've handled it.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
You handled what is a far, 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 far from ideal situation.
Yeah.
It's not like she lives down the street.
Yep. Yeah.
She's states away.
Yeah. And like you and I were talking about just, earlier this weekend, is that one exciting factor now is that some of that dynamic of leaving, like, I feel like I have to leave one family to see the rest of my family.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm always excited to see my kids. I'm super excited, but I'm never excited to leave Crystal and her kids. Like, there's no part of that I'm like, oh, thank God. Like, I'm always like this. It's like there's no win-win there, So what's exciting coming up, I feel like, is the win-win of having, my two kids that are still in secondary school be able to fly up to Oregon on those weekends I would normally fly down to Arizona. And so then there will be, sometimes 7, but at least 6 of us together way more often now. And that's going to be a dynamic that's
very
super cool, because it's the same. It doesn't change the amount of time of parenting and physically being with my kids, but it does change the dynamic of being together as a family. And I don't have to leave one family to be with the other part of the family. We can all be together. So that's I'm super excited about it. Yeah.
Let's keep the conversation going, but my butt is broken. So we'll
get this on video.
Back up this hill to the path. We're gonna pause the cameras, and then when we come back, we'll just see. Probably it's only gonna be the one camera.
That's awesome.
And we'll just walk back.
You want it?
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Okay.
We just made our own meme, like Arnold Schwarzenegger and
when Terminator or Predator or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's good to see you,
son of a bitch.
Okay.
Sweet.
So now, we are back in action. We'll try. I'm not sure how easily we'll be able to take up the conversation as we hike uphill, but we'll see. I guess I should use my left hand and keep this kind of centered.
I'm happy to hold it too if your hand's getting.
It's a great little selfie stick.
That's amazing.
It's not quite long
and
enough. I don't feel like.
That's as long as it goes there.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just have to kind of hold it out a bit.
Yeah.
But
I think we were just talking about the kids getting toward the end of where the kids are all getting older and like basically going to be into adulthood, a lot of them very soon. So that goes for your 4 kids and our 5 kids,
And has your oldest, has he decided where he's going to go to college?
Yeah, so he's following a girlfriend for the time to University of Arizona, which will be a great engineering school. And I think it'll be an awesome experience for him for sure. So I'm fully supportive of that. The main thing I want him to, this might be the road. Nice. The main thing I want him to know is just that, if he does feel like he needs to go a different, we can go this. Actually, it's looping around. Come on,
you're not supposed to do that, Keith.
Do what?
You're not supposed to cut off the switchback.
Oh yeah.
Hey there.
No, I'm not gonna go through it. I was just stepping off the trail.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, no, you'll never see me cut a switchback. I'm way too pure of a hiker for that. I'm not a criminal like that.
Lawbreaker.
Yeah. Anyway, I do want to come back and mountain bike this trail. This looks fun. So, yeah. Anyway, just what I was saying is I want to make sure he understands that I do really like his girlfriend. She's a sweetheart, nice. But not to feel like just because you've chosen to go to a college, same place as your girlfriend, that you're stuck in that relationship, or
Well, that kind of mirrors your past.
Oh, for sure, it totally does. And that was some advice I've given him, is just like, hey, just because this is the route you're taking doesn't mean that you're stuck in that route.
That way?
No, I don't know which one we get to the road the best. I kind of want to go to the right, but this one says Vineyard. That's the same
Vineyard Mountain Trail.
Is that way, and maybe we should go this way, huh? Yeah.
I mean, this kind of heads us back.
Looks like a fun tree to climb right here.
Right?
It's amazing.
That's crazy.
I just want to go up it. Look at how many branches it has, man.
That's a perfect climbing tree if ever there was
I
one.
feel like you could get so far up that thing, but yeah. No, that's wild. But I want to take a picture of that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
for sure.
send it to everybody. Here, let's take a selfie.
Here, look, we can do like a cool shot.
Yeah. Here, come over here.
Okay.
Oop. Gotta change the. There we go. That's pretty good. One,
There you
2, 3. That's a cool picture. Anyway, but
So you were saying you kind of gave him advice of like,
yeah, of just not.
even though you're going there kind of together.
Yep. Yeah, and it seems like he's in that mindset of like, I mean, Cameron's just got a good head on his shoulders, and I feel like he actually is willing to listen to advice. I don't think he's in a mindset of like, oh, I'm 18 and I know everything about there is to know about life, So, yeah. So that's the plan there. What was I gonna say? I was gonna mention something else earlier. Anyway, can't remember, but
That's
feel
all
free
right.
to keep going.
Do you feel like are your kids, well, you said Cameron's kind of interested in engineering.
Yeah.
Are any of them interested in following in kind of an entrepreneurial path?
Yeah,
because
that's
of
a
you?
great question. I think what we've kind of told all 5 kids is, hey, this is an option for you to kind of, quote, take over the family business.
Right.
But there's no pressure to do that. And I think kind of the way Crystal and I feel too is like, it's almost like the kids need to get out and experience some of their own things, even if they're just being an employee or working for somebody.
Yeah.
Experience that type of situation before they would really know, like, oh wow, I see the advantages to, being an entrepreneur, having your own business, and there's certain stresses that are unique to it and challenges, but there's also certain freedoms that are unique to it. So, I mean, if I were to put money on it, I would guess that probably we're not going to have any of the 5 of them, straight out of high school or even straight out of college doing that. But we're open to the possibility. And I would say probably what would need to happen is there would need to be like a period of proving oneself too. Like there's a lot of qualities that are needed to run the business well, and it's not like we would just hand it over and be like, hey, good luck. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, for sure.
There would need to be some kind of almost internship, mentorship type of
of course.
situation. Yeah, so that's
and maybe that entrepreneurial path takes them in their own direction, like separate from your business.
Oh, for sure, which would be super fun and exciting to see that too, if they've seen parents and other people they know, like you guys, growing up, opening businesses, so it's not a foreign concept to them to do something like that. It's like, I think when you see this is maybe like one of the most funny things to me of the whole conversation is when you're a kid and you see your parents with all their flaws and all their idiosyncrasies, and they're able to successfully open a business. What that should do to a kid is say, oh, I mean, yeah, if my parents can do that, I probably am capable of that too. If my loser parents can start a business. Like if my weird dad, my goofball dad can do this, and my dad and mom can do this, or for Crystal's kids, if they're saying like, man, my mom stepped right into this and picked this up really quick, and then also started the franchising aspect of things, from the ground up. Like that's all those things. I mean, in theory, they should inspire a kid to be like, oh, this entrepreneurial journey is actually something that is a possibility. You know,
Right.
It's not like it's a easy overnight thing for the most part, but it's doable.
It's definitely not that.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, my kids, I say my kids, all 4 of my kids.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Tristan has talked about wanting to be a pilot.
Yeah.
Which I think he would. I mean, Tristan's so freaking smart. He's gonna, if he wants to do something technical, he could totally do it.
Yep.
He's talked about wanting to be a commercial pilot. Oh wow, look at the spider string.
Yeah, I know, it's awesome.
Now he's considering the possibility of, like, at least making noises about, like, law school or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is
That's
kind of
cool.
terrifying, because I think he could argue just about any position imaginable. Marley is talking about, she is more like me in that there is no, like, 100% I know I want to be X.
Yeah.
It's much more of like, well, I'm kind of interested in, like, she loves art. She's an amazing artist.
Yep. Here's the main road.
And she has talked about not wanting to be a starving artist.
Yes.
Which, fair point.
Yep.
So, she's like, well, like marketing, something like that. Which I think that kind of direction could be of interest. Could be productive for her.
Absolutely.
But it's also, that's kind of a shot in the dark.
Yeah, especially with AI and just like the rapid changes of so many aspects.
Yeah, that's kind of the direction I was going, the whole AI thing, because
yeah, like utilizing that for marketing.
Nobody knows, man.
Yep.
4 years from now, when these kids come out of college, literally no one knows what the landscape's going to be in the business world.
Yeah, I have a cousin, younger cousin, and a nephew who have both gone through engineering studies at 2 separate universities, and it's like one has just finished his master's and one is just getting done with his, I think, bachelor's this year. There's a couple of years difference in age, but what's so crazy is like from the time they started to the time they finished their education, the world has changed radically because of AI. So,
and that change is only going to accelerate now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I want my kids to, like, what I sort of counsel them or argue for is, like, do the things, always have things that you're passionate about in your life. But if the things you aren't passionate or that you are passionate about
don't make you a living,
aren't financially successful or aren't financially viable, that's fine. Still keep them in your life.
Yes.
But also have, try to have multiple revenue streams, try to build a life for yourself.
This is cool.
That that provides you the revenue and the income and the financial success that'll keep you, that'll offer you the ability to live the life you want to live.
Yeah, and pursue the passions that you enjoy, right?
Yeah, and then pursue the things that are your passions in addition to that.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that your phone?
Yeah, it's my phone, yeah.
Oh, I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, something is talking to us.
It was just saying 1.5 miles. So do you edit all this when you...
Yeah.
Yeah, so you kind of go through and edit all of it. That's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, I'm trying, so what I may do now,
okay.
I may pause this.
Okay.
So maybe when we get to the end of the trail, we'll kind of finish up our hike. So say what you were just saying.
Yeah, we were just talking about kind of going back to the emotional moment we were talking about not, having that news about not being, having custody of the kids and realizing that meant that probably, 80% of daily life was going to not be near the kids physically.
Right.
So, I think one of the things I really quickly realized, about all of my attitude and my mindset about all this was just that really the most important thing in the whole situation is that what is best for the kids. Like, and obviously, like, even in unideal circumstances, making the best of it as a father is what's best for the kids. Like staying a part of their life is best for the kids. Being connected to them is best for the kids. And, so it's like that ultimately when, I guess the main thing is really quickly realize that making this about me would be the most destructive thing I could do, because it's not that I certainly have the feelings, and it certainly is painful, and you said, there's times where it's just gut-wrenchingly painful, even after all these years, to be like, man, this is the reality of the situation. This is really, really tough and really just like sucks. But, ultimately time has played out that, keeping what's best for the kids' mindset has really made it easier to just choose the attitude and choose the mindset that is like the most constructive. And I think, another thing I wanted to share is one of my mentors told me right as the time that was all happening with the custody trial and everything, that ultimately, like, you have a lot more years of friendship with your adult children than you do as a parent of your children when they're 0 to 18. And I'm like so grateful for all the years I got of like 100% parent with my kids before everything went all sideways. But that's something I've really held on to, of like, hey, again, it's kind of like that long game.
Where was that path?
Oh, it's right around these sides. It's that whole long game idea of, hey, like, if I do the right things and I have the right attitude and make the best of the situation, whatever that looks like, for the next 5 or 6 years, then we've got years and years and years of great relationship ahead of us as my kids go into adulthood and have their own families and grandkids and all that. So that's ultimately what's been the most important thing for me to keep in mind. Is that's great advice from that mentor of like, you're going to have a very long time of relationship with your adult children, much longer than their childhood. So.
Yeah. Still, just, a hard thing to really buy into in the moment, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's like that stoic thing we were talking about. It's balancing the logic of it against the emotions, because the emotions are obviously there.
Sure, yeah. Well, and that situation's a little different, but the mindset was the same for me. It was like every step of the way, going through the separation, going through the divorce, was like, I'm going to do what is in the absolute best interest of my children.
Yep.
And that is the only thing that matters.
Yeah. Yep.
So making it ugly and nasty and bitter and yelling and screaming and all that, like, that doesn't benefit my children.
Yep.
And thankfully, I will say, to give credit to my ex, like, are we up this way?
Yeah.
To give credit to my ex, like, she did not make it, she didn't make it ugly.
She did straight here if we want, though, just to keep off the road a little bit.
She made it, as
Yep.
as painless as a divorce can be, I guess.
All right, I dropped some out of my pocket. Yeah, she was very conscientious about it, right?
Right. As much as you can be in a divorce, we try to navigate it with, grace and care and all that stuff. So that helped. But yeah, for me it was like the driving thought always was, how can I best serve my kids here?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we're about back to the truck. Any final, like, anything else that's bouncing around in your head?
Not really. That's pretty much it. Those are the things that bounced around. That, yeah, I just really appreciate the chance to talk. I really appreciate your friendship, Charlie, and being able to have somebody to rely on and that can relate to, everybody can relate to some challenge in somebody's life, but some men can relate to multiple challenges in another man's life. So
you have been a rock for me in some of my darkest times. I'm very thankful for that too. And dude, like I said, you are an example to me of what the best of what it means to be like a damn good man, a good partner, a good father.
Thank you. I mean, the same for you, for sure. It's like, it's incredible to me that our paths crossed when they did at that time, and in the setting they did, and how how much that plays into everything. It's just so wild. But yeah, I cannot be more thankful for your friendship. So
you were very important to me.
Yeah, likewise.
Me, so. All right. Well,
let's go watch some baseball.
Wraps it up. Good luck. Good luck to me editing.
Yeah, exactly.
Editing all this together.
Yeah.
Hopefully, all these shots worked out. But if you, when you're watching this, if any questions come up, anything that you think, observations, questions, whatever, let us know. Just put it in the comments. Of course, it always is appreciated if you give things a thumbs up or subscribe or whatever. So, but if not, hopefully you'll come back for the next video.
Yeah.
Yeah.